Well, I'm sorry about the technical difficulties we're having today, but my internet keeps dropping. I'm gonna have to stitch these together when we're done to repost as one long video. Um, Thank you to those who have stuck with us. Hopefully, Ricky will be back with us soon. I don't know what's going on with my Comcast. I use Comcast internet. It's usually actually pretty good, and we have a really fast connection when we have it. But today it just keeps dropping for some reason. I'm not sure what's going on. Hopefully, Ricky will pop back on here, unless he's having another problem too. But anyway, we were talking about our sports heartbreaks, and I was talking about my number 3 is Steve Bartman and how bad I feel for him. I'll give Ricky a second to see if he reconnects here, and if not, then I will go on and give my last 2. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and go on to number 2 here. Oh, here he is. Yay. Yay. Man, I don't know what's going on with my internet. I'm back on my phone's internet now instead of
Comcast.
I don't know what's up.
Well, me neither.
It's weird.
I have AT&T at the moment, so it's not. It's I can't. I say I can't hop on and see if I'm having problems because I'm not. And even if I was, I'd be in a totally different area than you are. If that's a church, I'd probably have an idea.
I have gigabit internet, so it's not like I have a slow connection, and it usually is pretty good. It doesn't usually drop, but this is 2 weeks in a row I had a little bit of connection problem. So.
Oh, so we've had connection for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So maybe the issues
but not every day. Like I just mean during my stream.
Yeah, same thing. Our issues only seem to be during our stream. We've only been streaming for 2 weeks, so I'm wondering if maybe I'm pulling my hair out for a Comcast issue that may
could be.
Anyway, back where we were.
Yeah. So I just did Steve Bartman. So what's your next one?
So my next one is hard. So now I'm getting ones that are definitely more personal, clearly. And so I think the Iron Bowl kick 6 in 2013 was probably one of the biggest, just like, oh my gosh moments. Because I remember thinking like, it's Alabama. They're basically like the Imperial forces. You just want to see them lose. And I remember like sitting at home watching it, and there's that moment where you're like, why are they running the guy? Why is Auburn sending the guy back there? It's not going to happen. It's freaking Auburn. 2 things is going to happen. They're either going to nail this 60-some yard field goal because it's freaking Alabama, or they're going to miss, or maybe he catches it, but he's going to get tackled. Like it's
right.
And then they don't miss it. They kick it just far enough. If I remember correctly, the dude barely even has to move to catch the ball.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like he had to like go way out of his way. He maybe ran up 5 or 6 yards, but I mean, it wasn't. And then he takes it back. And then not only does he take it back, I mean, that thing just like grenades the BCS at that point too, if I remember right. Because that was what, the last year of the BCS?
I think so.
Yeah, no, we got 1 more year after that.
Okay.
But I remember it ended up knocking them out of the BCS. And it was just like it was a heartbreak in the concept of like, I don't know. Because to me, sometimes heartbreak can be shocking. And that was probably one of the most shocking things I'd ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because I kept waiting for a flag to come out somewhere, or I kept waiting for there to be a moment where they're like, oh, he steps out of bounds because he ends up running the sideline at one point.
Well, what's interesting, I was with people during that game who aren't like huge football fans, like they know enough. Right. As that's happening, there's like people around me going, "Can he do that? Can he run that back? But why isn't that just missed? How can he run that back?" I'm like, "Man, it's just like a punt. I mean, we say all the time, officials, it's a punt with a T. Well, they don't use a T in college, but they do in school.
Right.
And the rules are similar, a little bit different. If it crossed the goal line in high school, it's dead. It's a touchback. But as long as it hit the ground in college, it's live. So, that's
that's exactly it. I kept like watching the replay saying, okay, somebody blocked somebody in the back. Like it happened.
Right. because it's a.
I couldn't come to the conclusion that was gonna happen. I was like, no, not happening. It's coming back.
Another thing we always say as officials is that if anything is going to happen, it's going to happen on a scrimmage kick. So either a punt or a field goal. Right. If anything weird is going to happen, that's when it's going to happen. And
so I think
true.
I think that it grenaded their chances. So not only do they lose like that rival game in the most unbelievable way, but then they lost the rival game in the most unbelievable way, which grenaded their national championship hopes that year.
Right. Yep. All right, my number 2. It's bad on its own, but it was even more bad because of the circumstances in which I watched it. So I'm going to set the stage here.
Okay.
It's not 1995.
Okay.
I had moved back to Indiana from living in Oregon, and I'm working at Incredible Universe.
Okay.
I had asked for this night off, but didn't get it. And the store's dead. There's nobody there because everybody was talking about this game. And so now, I don't know if you'd ever had been to Incredible Universe or not. Incredible Universe is like... Okay. It's that building. But imagine imagine Fry's, I guess, but with like shows and huge displays of stuff and like inject a bunch of fun into Fry's, and that's Incredible Universe. I mean, they really try.
I mean, realistically, even if you inject a product into Fry's, it might get you clear the Incredible Universe.
But Incredible Universe was owned by Tandy. You know who Radio Shack people. You know them.
Right?
Huh? What was that?
Yeah. It used to be called before they switched to Incredible Universe, right?
I think so, yeah. I think you're right. But
because I kid you not, we still got product in 2000 when I worked at Radio Shack. There was resistors and capacitors that had Super Tandy World logos on them.
Really? That's funny. But
yes. I remember opening it up and I'm like, oh, I sent the wrong thing. And then so I got the whole breakdown that Super Tandy World was Incredible Universe, which is now Fry's. I was like, oh, cool.
So the management team that started Incredible Universe in Tandy actually went to and learned to create a whole. It was a little bit corny and cheesy, but it was fun. But anyway, so we have these big TV screens everywhere, and there's nobody there. This is the biggest thing with sports in quite a while. And so all gathered around these TVs watching this game. So it's the 95 AFC Championship game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And first thing that happened,
they had Slack, right?
That's when they had what?
But they had Slack, right?
Yes. Yeah, it was. So the first thing that happens, and now I'm referee. I don't like to talk about it. Let's talk. So the Steelers throw a touchdown pass to go ahead, but in the game, remember who it was, and around the out of bounds in the end zone and came back in bounds and caught the ball, and they counted it, and it shouldn't have counted because you can't come
right,
and so that already in your mouth. But now the Colts have more shots, and this is what makes it so bad for me, and why is number 2 game, the Porter interception would probably be here instead of this game in the Super Bowl. So we have Jim Harbaugh as our quarterback, which is why I said Harbaugh is going to come up again. So he throws to there's seconds left in the game. Harbaugh throws a Hail Mary into the end zone. The bounces around. Aaron Bailey, our wide receiver, ends up on his back and the ball was literally like on his chest, laying there. And it looked like from the TV angle that he caught it. So the people running the stuff at Incredible Universe, they have the game blaring over the speakers inside. I mean, usually we have music playing, but this night, like I said, there was nobody there. There's nobody there. Right. So we have a game going on, and it's all over the loudspeakers. And then the person who's running what we call the DJ booth, which is where all the TVs were controlled and the sound and everything, they put text up on the thing that said Super Bowl bound, blah, blah, on, and it's flashing and it's going. And then here comes this referee. Now, in this case, he was right, at least. Waving the pass off, it's incomplete, and they show replay, and the ball like is on his chest, and all he has to do is like do this, and we're at the Super Bowl, and it's like laying there, and it just rolls off his chest and hits the ground. And I mean, you want to talk about being deflated? I mean, we're all hooping and hollering and high fiving and running, and you know, within like 3 seconds, oh, and I mean, all of a sudden it's just silence in the whole place, and you could just like the whole energy just was gone, and it was probably the biggest heartbreak moment I've been a part of, where just there's so many people around, and just you know, there are no Steelers fans there. We're all Colts fans, and we're just, I mean, 1 minute we are, you know, sky high celebrating, and then depressed.
Yeah, that would be a heartbreaker. That would be a heartbreaker. So I will segue with one then.
Oh, I didn't.
This is one of those, to me, is not a heartbreaker. However, to another fan base, is it not only a heartbreak loss, but it kind of seemed like it pretty much created their dynasty. The 2000 championship game, Miami University, and Ohio State, were the but I think so. Like that whole game just kind of like really kind of kills. Like you watch back, and I was on during the quarantine time, and like kind of like I didn't forget. If that makes sense. In the middle of that fourth, when we blown out, and just like you. Is that right?
I don't know. Really, I know what incident you're talking about, but I don't really follow his career.
I think he gets his knee blown out, and then that whole see at the end where there was, if you watch it, they had that referee. Saw thing I'm like to get the flag, that is whatever. The field start to celebrate. Everyone's paper chains running back to the sides and touchdown. So like, damn, heartbreak. So you look at it, and you realize like from that point on, like they just went down the tubes. Like all of a sudden, it was super crazy. It was almost like SMU, the death dogs.
I've always thought that was the weirdest thing. I've ever just gone. Well, my last one was once again.
In fact, I even looked it up after that.
Oh yeah.
Kind of. Yeah.
Same here. So my number one in Super Bowl. This one's did to an earlier. We were really make waves. Really thought that was our year because it was now seniors for and of it ripped from us because of the worldwide pandemic did not well. So that's my biggest heartbreak is what I'm currently going through right now. It's fresh. We really,
yeah, I would say so.
We were hoping to win our third conference, and we were seeking revenge for that walk-off home run we lost last season, and we're really looking forward to it. And of course, that did not get to happen. So that's my biggest.
So how does that work? Do they just call it even, or do they just put an asterisk? Do they just say no champion that year? Is that how they're going by record at that point?
We're actually allowed to play games in July. They said the whole month of July, but now they said the last, basically. Teams and they that conference winner. Yeah. It's right. Last year.
That's
we have some good players now, but
I feel you because that's not the right. Ohio State.
I got to be
worse. That was the worst. That was the worst. And it's like I think it's a hard year only because you're like I was in the chance you're gonna face a quarterback by your former quarterback, and then he's always talking about to be able to play against, and you had that feeling like this tale that was gonna unfold. Yeah. And then like even with like Justin Fields getting hurt, in that Michigan game where he's got that massive brace on and really doesn't run in the Wisconsin game, which was kind of weird. Like you thought he's got a month, he's going to come out okay, and you can tell he can throw better, but you can tell he can't run. Like it's very obvious. And so like right away the game starts and they're just pounding. Okay, cool, fantastic. And then like you don't expect to pound them the entire way through. I knew there was going to be a point where Clemson comes back, but then there's that moment like you just watching dominoes drop. And you're like, what the heck? Like Sean Wade getting ejected, which was correct. And State fans want to hear that, but
check them out. Anyway, I appreciate you guys joining